no one else will ever have to go through this again.
A young girl's mistake, a lifetime of anguish for those she left behind. For today, Kevin Tibbles, NBC News, Chicago.
Cynthia Logan is Jesse Logan's mother. Perry Aftab is an internet safety expert. Ladies, good morning to both of you, and Cynthia, our deepest condolences. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
How are you coping with this? It's been
It's
about 8
very,
months.
very difficult. It's still difficult. She's my only child. And I'm trying my best to get the message out there. We've tried to go through the law. We had 6 attorneys that said that they couldn't help us. The school in the very beginning, when my daughter went to the school and went to the officer, all he said was that he would go to the other school that was the picture was disseminated from,
Right.
speak to that 16-year-old and have her remove the picture and never speak to my daughter again.
I know you were aware that Jessie was being harassed at school. She
Yes.
was starting to skip school. Were you aware of the magnitude of it, do you think?
No, I only had snapshots, bits and pieces. Until the very last semester of school, I was getting letters from the school every single day that she was truant or she was skipping school.
And when you talked to her about it, what she said?
That they were harassing her, and I gave her an option of doing school at home through the internet. And she said no, she wanted to continue to do this. But I said, Jessica, you know, we really need to talk to the parents. She said, no, I need to do something else. I'm going to go on the news, and that's what she did.
She felt that if you talked to the parents, it would open her up to even more ridicule because they would tell them.
She was really afraid of these kids.
As a parent, Cynthia, what gets me here is that prior to this mistake, this sexting episode, this is a normal young girl. This is not a girl with violent mood swings.
She was vivacious, she was fun, she was artistic, she was compassionate, she was a good kid.
And she had no idea that this pushing the send button
to
on
her, the guy she was dating,
could ever spiral
do
into this.
Absolutely
Are
not.
there no laws? Are there
There are laws, Matt, here, and when we talked about her being a good kid, a normal kid, those are most of the ones that are sending out these images. 44% of the boys said that they've seen sexual images of girls in their school, and about 15% of them are disseminating those pictures when they break up with the girls.
But when they do that, when they disseminate those images, if they are nude images, is there no law that covers that?
There absolutely is a law. It depends on the age of the child. If somebody's under the age of 18, it's child pornography, and even the girl who posts the pictures can be charged. And they could be registered sex offenders at the end of all of this. Even at 18, because it was sent to somebody underage, it's disseminating pornography to a minor, there are criminal charges that can be made here.
What I don't understand is if she sent it to this boy, it was between the two of them, okay? It went through a school system. Why aren't the schools held responsible? They can send me truancy letters in the parents' names. They can call me and tell me that she skipped school, but they will not send me a letter saying that there was a sex photo being
Well, now schools are
disseminated.
being held liable when they're not taking action in the case of real-life bullying and some cyberbullying. The question is jurisdiction, and once we start talking, at the end of the show, I hope that we're going to be working together, and I'm going to get her involved in a huge campaign to allow kids to understand consequences of this and allow schools to understand what they need to do to keep our kids alive.
Is that, Cynthia, is that why you're talking now? Because you haven't spoken really much about this in the last statement. Is that what you'd like to see happen?
Absolutely.
Some sort of change of rules?
Absolutely. The officer, as a matter of fact, called the local newscaster last night and told her that he gave my daughter the option of prosecuting. That wasn't so. Absolutely not true. And if he did, why didn't I get a notice in the mail that he gave her that option?
I think parents who are watching this are probably going to be grabbing those cell phones and checking the computer a third and fourth time just to make sure that some lesson is learned from this.
And if you don't ask, they won't tell.
I think we're brave to come out and talk about it.
Absolutely.
Cynthia, thank you very much. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Again, our condolences.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you,
It was
Matt.
good to see you.
I can tell you that Jackson Township, we do prosecute. Unfortunately, when we have a person come in that the same situation, they're gonna get charged too. So that's how we do it now. If you come in, I've had parents come in with their daughter and they're getting charged as well. So, you know, it's a huge thing you guys have to think about before you hit send. Don't assume anything that you send or post is gonna remain private. There's no changing your mind in cyberspace. Anything you send or post will never go away. Don't give in to the pressure to do something that makes you uncomfortable. Consider the reaction, and nothing is anonymous. Cyberbullying, another huge problem we're seeing. It's any communication sent by instant message, email, game device that's meant to scare, humiliate, hurt, or manipulate another minor. In 1995, there was one hate-related website. In 2004, there was 4,700. I looked at the statistics. I didn't have time to add it. In 2014, that over doubled. It was 11,200, I think, hate crime or hate sites. So it just keep, you know, the problem's not going away. It's happening in chat rooms, email, phones, texting, Twitter, Instagram. What can happen if someone you know is a victim of cyberbullying? Megan Meyer, she's age 13, was a victim of online bullying. I'm not going to play this just for time issues that we have, but you guys can look it up at home. If you just type in her name, you would hear her story. The same exact thing. Basically, there was a site that was put up. People were making fun of her. The same thing happened. She ended up, you don't know what's going on in somebody's personal life. You know, I think a lot of times you have to sit back and, you know, maybe it's funny at the time when everybody else is doing it. This girl ended up committing suicide as well. You don't know what's going on in their lives. That's very hurtful to read something like that about yourself over and over and over again. You know, it's one thing, I know I swore I would never do this, but like, you know, when I was in school, I hated when parents and teachers did that. But no, when I was in school, we didn't have any of that. I mean, we wrote notes. Like, that was like the big thing, you know, you wrote a note to somebody. Why is that playing? But, you know, now it's like you guys can send text messages and you guys can post these things and the person goes home, it never goes away. They hear it at school and then they go home and then they have to look at it and look at it and look at it. All these people saying things about them, you gotta watch. Instagram, KIK Messenger, all these things are changes all the time. Just because someone is smiling doesn't make them happy. You gotta be able to read between the lines. This was something somebody posted. Garcia, 15, sobbing, put down her school bag and purposely fell backwards to her death at around 3:15 p.m. at a railroad station platform, which was packed with fellow high school students. Students circulated the video of her death on Instagram. Let's skip that one. Snapchat, this is another new one. It's not really even new now. An app that allows users to send text, pictures, and videos that will disappear in 10 seconds after they are opened by a recipient. Not true, by the way. Like, they don't go away. I know that you guys think they do, but we've had people that have found out ways they download it as soon as the thing comes through, and then the same thing happens, it spreads. The recipient can capture the image or text by taking a screenshot of their phone. Now the message is captured and can easily be saved, shared via mass text, or uploaded to other social media sites such as Facebook or Instagram. Users have even figured out how to, like I said, download images and videos before the 10-second viewing period is over. Sure, the sender will receive a notification if the recipient took a screenshot or downloaded their message, but really what's that going to do for you once you know somebody did it? Nothing. Except for panic. Twitter is a very popular instant message system that leads a person to send brief text messages up to 140 characters in length to a list of followers. You know, you guys, if you see something that isn't right, report it. I mean, you know what people are posting on there, and sometimes I think you guys you're old enough and you guys are smart enough to read between the lines. Hours before heading to the party bus, Fernandez asked a friend over Twitter, are they checking on the bus? Another party team tweeted, the amount of bottles on this limo is ridiculous, sick. Twitter accounts tell how the group of 65, many of whom were from a Queens Catholic high school, were getting ready for a night of partying. The girls in bright blue dresses were among who tweeted about getting sauced at a Sweet 16 party just hours before the tragedy struck on Friday night. Daniel Fernandez died on Friday evening after sticking his head out of a double-decker bus which went through an underpass. This is another one that was on Twitter. I finally got a gun. A popular high school student committed suicide after her cries for help to hundreds of online friends were ignored. I mean, I think all those tragedies could have been prevented. If one of you guys, or somebody that read that, you can't tell me that somebody didn't read that and think, that's not good, nothing good. I know you guys don't want to be the rat or the person that tells, but I mean, be saving somebody's life. Signs that your friend or anybody that you know might be a victim of cyberbullying: emotional upset, depression, sadness, anxiety, anger, or fear. This may increase after phone or internet use, avoidance of friends, schools, activities, decline in grades, subtle comments that reflect emotional distress. What to do? I mean, if this happens to you or anybody that you know, keep a record of it. For a law enforcement standpoint, it really helps for us, including dates and times, phone numbers. Tell somebody, make sure you let somebody know. Contact your phone or internet service. I personally just think, like I said, it's good to a certain extent, but I don't think that it's necessary to have all these accounts, you know, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those. If a message is threatening or serious, you need to contact the police. Don't reply to any bullying messages. The situation it just gets worse. Change your contact details anytime you have a problem like this. I mean, my suggestion is to get off the internet. Get off of it for a while. Change your account. Don't give your email account or information to any of your friends. Keep username and password secret, except for your parents. Things that you can report. You can always report it to a cyber tip line as well. I mean, same with the police department. There's an anonymous tip line. So if you don't want to be the person that, told, I mean, there's always a way that you can do it without having to come forward with your name. Anyone who sends photos or videos containing obscene content, anyone speaking to you in a sexual or hateful manner, anyone who asks to meet in person. That's the tip line. Okay, I just added this to the end, because what kind of police officer would I be if I didn't talk to you guys about drugs for just a really quick 5-minute period? We've seen a huge increase in Jackson Township in heroin use, meth. It's become a huge problem with pills, prescription pills. I think a lot of times people don't think it's that big of a deal if they're taking a couple Oxys or taking a couple Xanax. What's happening is it's leading to a huge addiction, and then they're going to heroin. It's cheaper and it's easier to get. I just want to show you guys what these drugs do. I mean, I wish I could put pictures on here of people I've actually encountered and I've dealt with over the last 9 years. If you look at the first photo from 1979, look at her 10 years later. That's just 120 months of meth use. It's the same girl. Same with this one. This is the same girl. Age 18 at the top, she's 22 at the bottom. She gradually, you can see she started cocaine. I'm assuming with the paraphernalia it was probably pot. It just gradually progresses, but that's exactly how it is. They move up. They start with pot, they start with drinking, they go to pot, they go to pills, they go to heroin, it's just how it is. Look at this guy. Okay, age 23. Look at him down there. Look at him at 25. I mean, what happens with heroin and meth, it'll chew away your skin. It'll chew away your gums. It rots your teeth out. It's very, very, very harmful. So when taking the pill wasn't that big of a deal, this is what it turns into. Age 29, and then there's her right next to it at age 31. Some of them, that one didn't have her age there, but I mean, these are all in a matter of like a year, 2, 3 years. A lot of these people, at least the ones I encounter, they were good kids, graduated from high school, in college, life completely falls apart. That's age 21, there she's at 29. They lose their job, they lose their family, they lose everything. That's just in 2.5 years of meth, what it did to her. Isn't she attractive in 2010? This is a heroin and cocaine user. Looks like a normal girl. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to add the little drug thing to the end of it, just because we've seen such an increase in it. Do you guys have any questions or anything for me? No?
I actually know of a case that happened at our school.
With the sexting or internet?
Yeah, there was actually a teacher
Really?
that was talking to one of the students, and she didn't even know.
Yeah, see, I mean, it can happen with, like, that's why I was telling you guys in the beginning, it can be a law enforcement, it can be a teacher. I actually worked the Jackson case with the basketball coach.
Oh, yeah.
I worked that case. Actually, how that started was when I was working with Homeland Security, and we were doing a big raid. They were doing it all over the United States, a big raid on child pornography. And so when we were going in there with the search warrant, we were going in there with the intent, looking for something that had to do with that child pornography ring. It had nothing to do with what we found. When we got there, we found that, I mean, I knew right away it was Jackson School, and then you saw what happened with that. So yeah, you never know. I mean, you just don't know who you're dealing with. You guys just gotta be careful, and I think this is a great camp that they put together for you guys, and it gives you guys huge opportunities, and I would just hate to see you guys mess it up. I know I've done a lot of our background investigations for hiring, and one of the first things we look up your Facebook account, we look up everything we can find on social media on you guys. So that is a huge, if it's between two, it's competitive. This is a competitive field just like any of these fields, like they were saying are. If we pull, these three up and they all want the same job, and his is perfect, his Facebook is perfect. These two have kind of, they're drinking, oh my God, was out partying. I know it's fun to take pictures with your friends and do all that, but we're looking at it. I mean, we're watching it. So yeah, I mean, they don't want somebody working for the department that's doing these things outside, and it's no different with any other job or college, application when you guys are filling those out. It's competitive. You gotta watch what you guys are putting on there and doing. Anything else?
Okay, if you're not doing it, but there are people that are your friends that are doing those type things, does that hurt you as well?
I go back and forth with this one because my theory on this is you are who you hang out with. If you're hanging out with these people that you know, I just had a case the other day. I arrested a girl and she was with, it wasn't her purse. None of it was hers. It wasn't hers. It was her friends. The heroin needles weren't hers. Okay, but then once we start getting into the purse, well, the phone might be hers. The lipstick's hers, but the heroin needles aren't hers. You can't hang out with these people and not expect to get the same reputation. So if your friends are doing these type of things, I would suggest that hey, do you really want to hang out with somebody like that? I would tell them, it's probably not a good idea you're posting that on there. It just makes you look really bad. Is that how you want to look? You guys are getting to an age now where you have to start thinking about your future. And, you know, these type of things, if your friends are posting those ridiculous things on there and you're hanging out with them, from a teacher or a law enforcement, if I pull somebody over, then, you know, you have a rap sheet this long and you're completely clean, I don't know that. I mean, in my eyes, I'm thinking, you're just as bad as he is. You know, you gotta think of that. You know, I'm not saying that you need to like completely not have any friends that are doing this, but I would just kind of watch. I would probably talk to them. If they're your true friends, I mean, they would want to hear that. I think that they would want you to say that. You know, I watched this presentation. I mean, do you know that that's a felony? Could get in serious trouble for that. Doesn't just go away. So.
Then if you receive a text of someone getting beat up at school or whatever, if you forward that.
You could be in trouble.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you for saying that.
Mhm. Yeah.
My sister wants to be a police officer.
Uh-huh.
She was just saying that she would just go to the police academy, but I kept trying to like stress to her that the military, not the military, I'm sorry, that going to college would get her like higher up, because I know it does in the military. Is that the
Mhm.
same thing?
Same thing. Yeah, it's just like with any profession. I mean, you know, there's so many different things that you can do in law enforcement. I mean, it's not just you go through the police academy and you're thrown in a car, you can work the road. I mean, there's so many different things. You can move up to the detective bureau. You can move up. I do a lot of our internet where we investigate crime scenes. So I process our crime scenes. I had to go through additional training for that. I would suggest that she goes to school if she wants to move up. They take that into consideration. If she wants to go to like into the FBI or drug enforcement, she would definitely want to go through criminal justice. You know, I mean, hey, I've worked with there's guys that have been there for 25, 28 years, and they love being on the road. That's their thing. They don't, you know, they went in the detective bureau for a year or 2 years, and they just don't want to, that's their thing. They want to work the road. So really all what she wants to do. You know, I mean, does she want to be a road officer? Does she want to be crime scene investigator? What does she want to do?
Okay, like there's like kind of this thing on Instagram, like exposing pages, but the people that like follow these pages and like shout them out, like try to get other people to follow them, would they get in trouble too?
It all depends. And see, you know, I can't really speak for Canton PD. I can't speak for Massillon. I can't speak for those departments. I can just tell you what our department does. I mean, they take it very seriously. We have a school resource officer in the high school. We have 2 in the middle school. You know, anytime we have a situation like that, they're all brought in. You know, it's not like yeah, some of them might get a slap on the wrist, but it depends on what the topic is. You know, if we've had ones where, and I don't know if your school's had them, probably, because I think they've been all over, you know, the sexy Jackson girl, and then, you know, they have all these girls listed that, yeah, she's hot, she's not list. And, you know, it's caused huge, huge problems. All those kids that were forwarding it got called in. You know, I mean, if you're playing sports, if you're on, you know, if you're playing football, you're on the volleyball team, I heard you say, you know, coaches look at that. I mean, that just causes problems. So, yeah, they can, it depends on what they're posting. You know, if it's threatening or what really was involved in the text or in the Instagram message.
Is it important that they know if there's any sexual predators living in their neighborhoods and vicinity? Or
Yeah, you can go online. You can just go on the Stark website and, you know, and look to see. I mean, most of them have to report to there. It just depends on what tier they are, whether they have to register or not. In my experience, it seems like most of the ones that I've dealt with have never been in trouble before. So that's what makes it scary to me. I would say like 85% of my arrests, the person had never been in trouble. So, you know, it might help them to a certain extent, it might not, because really, you know, just like the Jackson, we never had issues with him. So. Mm-hmm.
I think it is very important for people to know, like other registered sex offenders next to them, because it was my neighbor, he was a sex offender. We didn't know. He was fresh out of jail and he just moved there. And he was like really creepy. He was like, I remember he came to my house at like 12 o'clock at night and was like, can I use your phone book so I can call AEP? Like, aren't they closed? So we gave him the phone book and my stepdad wasn't home, so then he's looking inside like,
Yeah.
who's home? Like, well, my mom, and of course I said my stepdad because he was just creepy.
Right.
And we didn't know until like 2 weeks ago, he just went to jail because he raped a woman and like beat her unconscious.
Yeah.
So we didn't.
See, I mean, you just never know who you're dealing with, and you know, in that situation, I mean, think about it. If you accepted him as a friend on Facebook, you know, he could have been acting like somebody else, and he might have known that you weren't telling the truth because he might have already known through your little post. You know, and it's like I said, adults do this too. I mean, you have no idea how many adults we have. You know, I don't understand. Like, my house got robbed, and you know, I posted on Facebook like so excited to go to Hawaii, be gone for 3 weeks. It's like, you know, what are you doing? I mean, of course they knew you weren't home. I mean, we get adults all the time that come in with the scams on Craigslist, and you know, I mailed them this check for $1,500, but it seemed legit. So I mean, I'm not just like targeting you guys because of your age. I just want you guys to succeed, and I want you guys to have, you know, a good career, and I don't want anything like this to hinder that. That's it.
Thank you very much. Very, very impactful. It just proves that Mr. Seifert and I did a disservice to that presentation last year. We tried to wing it, and Mrs. Myers tried to help us out. But we couldn't salvage it. This was a terrific presentation. It's scary. And it's probably meant to be that way. And you should take it very, very seriously. And this whole social media has ruined many, many lives, many, many careers. Lives first, careers second. I know in my corporate world that I was in, we would catch people constantly on company equipment and doing these things, and zero tolerance, immediately terminated, turned into the police, and you know, married people with 3, 4 kids are just disasters, absolutely disasters. So I'm glad yes.
Can I make a comment about that?
Sure.
I mean, and let's get away from everything about the bad stuff we talked about today and this stuff. But I run a business, and I know there's a couple guys here. You know what the number one thing I have a problem with production? I have 42 people that work in my corporate office. And the biggest issue I have is the amount of time they spend not working. But they're on the internet, sending emails, looking at other sites, and all of it's clean. I'm saying even if they're going to ESPN and they're going to, you know, shopping and stuff like that, to the point that I'm like, why are our computers running slow today? And it's people streaming music in. I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, you're here to work for 8, 9 hours a day. You got a darn good job, and I'm like, this. I call it an addiction, that they can't get away from this kind of stuff to really do work. And I'm not the only one, I'm sure, that is involved in business. Maybe Ms. Myers can talk about her experience and Mr. Slifer here, but it's like, you know, we had to get rid of 2 people in the last 15 months. Good employees when they were doing work.
Yeah.
Good employees when they were doing work. But 2 hours a day, what we found is they were not, and none of them were in any bad places, but I mean, I can't have people doing their Christmas shopping all day when they're supposed to be doing work, you know?
Well, like Mr. Sipek just said, it's interesting because we just got a memo. I work at Smucker's out in Orville, loaded with great people. They just sent a memo out that they are blocking access to Netflix and Pandora. And I'm thinking, really? We got people at work that we're paying good money and they're at Netflix and Pandora? Wow, that's craziness. So, you know, we're trying to take the approach of keeping people from doing, wasting time and getting out, but who's got time at work to sit there and watch movies and just do nothing but listen to music?
These are excellent examples. I was at a company called Church and Dwight out of Princeton, New Jersey, and we had a head of finance in the sales and marketing department. and they hired him and 3, 4 kids, and I would say the job started at about $150,000 base plus bonus plus. And after 6 months, they couldn't figure out why he wasn't getting it. He was online 6 hours a day while he was in the office trading futures. And now for Mr. DiPietro, who did that for a living and managed $1 billion hedge fund, that's fine. But for the finance manager of a consumer products company, not good. And I know other people that we fired in Kraft that were doing real estate,